After a long hiatus, Remedy Entertainment returns with Alan Wake, a psychological action thriller inspired by Twin Peaks and the works of Stephen King. But does it honor its pedigree and inspirations, or should you let it get swallowed by the abyss? The game begins with your arrival in Bright Falls as Alan and his wife book a holiday in the seemingly peaceful town. Friendly folks and warm weather welcome you, but just as you're getting comfortable, your wife disappears, pages of a manuscript start materializing out of goddamn nowhere, and ghastly individuals start hunting you down. All the ingredients for a compelling narrative are here, but the execution falls flat on its face. The aforementioned manuscript pages give away what is going to happen in the next few minutes, leaving the game without any strong twists or tension as you basically know what'll happen next. Collecting these pages is unfortunately necessary to get a grasp of the bigger picture and keep a tab on the overall story, but their complete lack of subtlety leaves the plot with its pants down. To some extent, this is intentional as the game does analyze horror and action cliches, but it could have been done without compromising the game's own narrative, where the page is a little more subtle. While the story disappoints, the gameplay disappoints as well. Interactivity isn't the game's strong suit as you can pick things up, shoot enemies to defend yourself, and occasionally talk to people to get story moments going, but that's it. There are 4 enemy varieties and a few weapons at your disposal, but once more, that's it. An interesting twist is the fact that in order to dispatch your enemies, you must first weaken them enough with your flashlight, but even that doesn't save the combat from becoming repetitive, as once the shadow shield is down, it takes 1 to 3 hits depending on the weapon to take them out. But the biggest issue is that the game forces combat onto the player by pausing itself to reveal all the enemies, and running away from them is not an option as they can easily catch up with you. The complete lack of gameplay variety, combined with the above average length of 10 to 12 hours, makes the encounters as fun as working on a factory line, and your inability to avoid combat undercuts any potential terror the game might have offered. The graphics and sound are thankfully much more notable. The heavily forested environments don't offer many surprises as everything takes place in one town, but everything you look at, be it plant life or people, is incredibly detailed and carefully modeled. The few moments of downtime at night reveal an unsettling atmosphere, which unfortunately only reminds of the missed potential for actual scares. The only blemish of this otherwise stunning game is the facial animation. It's literally scarier than the game itself.
Dr. Hartman. I read a book of his. He has a private clinic here.
The soundtrack sets the tone and the voice acting is good, even if the game is just a little too wordy for its own good at times. A small consolation is the fact that the PC version feels like a PC game thanks to plenty of graphics settings, tight control, and even proper icons when prompted. Saving manually isn't an option, but checkpoints are plentiful enough that it isn't much of an issue. Ultimately though, Alan Wake sacrifices compelling gameplay and storytelling in favor of metaphors and meta-commentary with mixed results. It ends up compromising its own experience, but the polish and attention to detail save it from mediocrity, if just barely. If you want a more analytical look at horror, Alan Wake is good food for thought, but if you want a truly great game, look elsewhere. This is neither a fun action game, nor a compelling horror experience.